welcome to UCF Uncut. This podcast is my personal opinion on UCF football. This podcast is completely raw and uncut. I may offend people. I'm not a credentialed media member. I'm a UCF average fan, just giving my personal opinion on the UCF football program. Coming to you live from the pub. I hope you enjoy it. Today's brew of the night is going to be on tap in the kegerator behind me. We have here Toppling Goliath Pseudo Sue. This is a brewery in Decorah, Iowa. It's 5.8% citrus malty medium bodied, and this may be one of my favorite brews of all time, and I've recently discovered it. I have it in the kegerator, so let's take a taste here. That's absolutely delicious. Okay, so let's talk current state of UCF football and the program, where it's at under new head coach Scott Frost. I absolutely love the hire. Bringing back Scott Frost is the best decision that Terry Mahajer should have made. Going back, hiring Gus Malzahn was a good hire at the time. And I'll get into that a little bit later, but let's focus on Scott Frost and what he brings to the UCF football program. We know that at his time at UCF, he is probably the most loved head coach in history of the program at UCF. And I graduated from UCF in 2011, and George O'Leary was our head coach. And my rule of thumb when it comes to head coaches, and there's different categories, right? Who would you like to have a beer with? And when I think of UCF football head coaches, I would definitely enjoy having a beer with Gus Malzahn, right? I think he's a great person. I've met him. He's very, very, very cool. So Gus Malzahn I'd have a beer with. George O'Leary, probably not. Scott Frost, definitely. I bet back in the day, Scott Frost could crush some brews when he was at Nebraska. But anyway, staying on track with Scott Frost and the UCF football program, I absolutely love what Scott Frost is doing so far at UCF. And what I mean by that is he's learning from his mistakes that maybe he made when he was at Nebraska, right? We all know it didn't work out well for him going back to Nebraska. And sometimes in life, like he said, you kind of get pushed out of a situation. You're happy, and then you go to a place where the pressure's on, and it was. And it didn't work out in Nebraska, but I can kind of go into, I think, why it didn't work out in Nebraska, but we don't really care about Nebraska. We care about UCF football. So now he's at UCF football. He's back. His hiatus, working for McVay and the Rams as an analyst. I love the hire. UCF was in a tough spot. Gus Malzahn bowed out graciously with the way his contract worked out. Him leaving, Scott Frost picked it up, and we got Scott Frost on a pretty good deal. But let's look at what Scott Frost is doing now and what he could do for the program. What he's doing now is he's picking up the pieces that Gus Malzahn left. And to be honest, out of the Power 4 conference, UCF's roster, when Scott Frost picked it up, was probably in the bottom tier as far as players coming back and just on the roster. People were jumping in the portal left and right. And I don't blame them. I think they were misled a little bit by coming to UCF under Gus Malzahn. And at the end of the day, it wasn't a good fit. Gus Malzahn was not a good fit at UCF. We know that. But Scott Frost is a great fit at UCF. We've seen it before. And to go into why I like what's happening at UCF right now with Scott Frost is how he's building his coaching staff now versus how he built his coaching staff when he went to Nebraska and basically hired everybody he knew or worked with in the past. which is not the case right now with what he did so far with the coaching staff at UCF. Look no farther than Ted Grinch. I'm sorry, Ted Roof was the D coordinator under Gus Malzahn. I think he lasted 6 games before he got the boot. I have to check. But Alex Grinch is the name. Alex Grinch coming in from USC, right? The thing is about Alex Grinch that I think a lot of people don't realize is he's a fantastic defensive coordinator, one of the youngest and smartest minds to do it. The scheme at USC and the players weren't really working out for the way that he runs his defense. They were not playing sound. They were not, they weren't focused on their gaps. They were trying to be the hero on every play, and they were getting gashed. And it consistently happened. And I don't know if it's something about USC and California, but it is what it is. Cali and Florida football couldn't be further apart as far as the way that the style of the game is played there versus Florida. And we all know Florida is the number one state for football in the country, and in this case in the world, when it comes to evaluating prospects from high school. And that's just my personal opinion. And I think the NFL backs it up as well with the prospects coming out of the state of Florida. Just absolute athletes here. So anyway, we're looking at Scott Frost and the way he's building out this roster and his coaching staff. And I love the D coordinator hire. I think we got him relatively cheap because we have to remember, UCF is in a very interesting place financially. We are also competing with UF, FSU, Miami, and then all of the other SEC schools, Big Ten schools, and Big 12 schools coming into the state of Florida to poach, our prospects in the Orlando area and all throughout the state of Florida. So, we're working with a little bit less than most have in the Power Four, but that's okay. The Big 12 is a huge step up for UCF financially, and we're just starting to get our full share, which we will start to see. And a lot of things are going on with that right now, and with a cap on the roster that you can spend, I think it's $21.5 million that just came out. I don't know how that's going to work, if you can go above that or not. But if everybody only had $21.5 million, I think UCF is going to be in a great place going forward. But back to the coaching staff. I like the coaching staff. I love the O-line head coach, former head coach, the O-line coach that we have, and running backs coach as well. I think we're set up with some experience, some guys at UCF that have been here before, that Scott Frost kept. Very excited for that. Now, let's focus more on the culture that Scott Frost is bringing back, and which is so important. I'm a season ticket holder at UCF. I also, go to away games when I can. I was at the UF game right on the sideline of UCF. And, some of the things I was seeing, the body language from this team, everybody is just about themselves. Last year's team was basically, it was a me thing. It was not a we. And people are so focused on playing for, the name on the back, but not the name on the front. And my thing is, as a UCF alum, I bleed black and gold. It's not about the name on the back. It's all about the name on the front. It's all about UCF. So when I saw the players on the sideline moping and, just not locked into the game, and this is pregame, maybe they weren't getting the reps they thought they would, but, we're in the swamp. We have an opportunity to knock off UF. And with a competent quarterback, we would have beat them that game. No doubt in my mind. It was an unreal situation. I was just depressed leaving UF after that loss. I'll just tell you that right now. So the roster, definitely last year, if everybody jumped in the portal and didn't come back, I would totally be okay with that. Now, the guys who stayed and wanted to stay, I love it. I love it because that shows that they love UCF more than just the head coach, Gus Malzahn, and some of the position coaches that may have recruited them. UCF is the location, it's the program, it's the trajectory, it's so much more than just the head coach. And I think a lot of recruits who stuck around, and players from the roster last year who stuck around get that. So I love that. Now let's look at the roster that we currently have. Right, Scott Frost is not making a splash in the portal like Malzahn did, and it will take time. Right, it should take time. He needs to develop those relationships in the state of Florida when it comes to high school recruiting. Now, the portal is a completely different ballgame, and Scott Frost really wasn't around at Nebraska when the portal was a big thing, and NIL. So he's got a lot to learn, and he's picked up the pieces pretty quick, and the coaching staff's helped him do that, hit the ground running, recruiting locally. And the biggest success that Scott Frost found when he was at UCF with the undefeated season was that he knew that he didn't need to go to Georgia. He didn't need to go to Alabama. He didn't need to leave to go to Texas, California, Nebraska to recruit. He had everything he needed in the state of Florida. And see, the great thing about the state of Florida and why Scott Frost was so successful at UCF was UCF fast, right? And Scott Frost knows that we are competing with pretty much the entire SEC for the best prospects in the state of Florida. And a lot of them are from Orlando. But here's the advantage UCF has, is that we are the school where, one, we're a Power 4 school. Two, we're located in Orlando. We're not far from the beach. The campus is beautiful, and it's modern. And the academic programs are great, but at the end of the day, we're close to home for a lot of these great athletes coming out of high school in the state of Florida. We're very close to home. Their family can come watch them play. It's a desirable place to be. And here's the thing. Even if we lose out on a lot of the 4 and 5-star guys, which we do, and that will continue to happen, we have so many gems, 3-star guys in the state of Florida, that now we're a Power 4 school. We can poach those 3-star guys all day. I would take a 3-star from the state of Florida over a 4-star from any other state. Because in Florida, we have dogs. Like you are a dog at heart. If you play in Florida and you're successful, even as a 3-star, I'll take a roster of 3 stars all day from the state of Florida. That's just how I feel. Georgia and Texas, I respect those states and their programs, but for the most part, you don't need to go farther than Florida. So what Scott Frost knows is with UCF Fast, we have some serious track speed in the state of Florida. And all we need to do to be successful is to first find talent, find speed in the skill positions, which we have. Now, receiver is a interesting position this year, but if you look at our running back room, I think people are sleeping on some of the running backs that we have on the roster. That's not Miles Montgomery, which everyone knows. He's a great player. I'm a big fan of Miles Montgomery. But don't forget we have Stacy Gage from St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the best powerhouse schools in the country. He's a fantastic running back. He's going to do huge things. Tavion Swint, awesome running back as well. And then you got Miles Montgomery, and then the transfer, Nixon. So we are going to be set up for success in the running back room, especially with speed with those Florida guys. So I like our running back room, and I think Scott Frost knows that if we build up the O-line, and we have through the transfer portal, patched it up, we're looking good. We'll see. We just need a competent O-line that can move off the ball, because we're going to get these guys with speed the ball with mismatches. And I think Scott Frost is a magician at creating space for these guys with track speed to take off. And then it's off to the races. That is using UCF's hometown hero motto, like, hey, look, come to UCF. Your family can watch you play. We know you're fast. We want you. Just because you're a 3-star doesn't mean that you're not 4-star to us. To us, we know what you can be. We can take you to the NFL. In our system, watch how you succeed, because we're going to use you different than the schools in the SEC are going to use you. I.e., pull up the 2017 tape. Show them. Show them. Show them how we use mismatches and create space with speed. Now, with that being said, our offense is we got the O-line set up, and what I love is the quarterback that we got from Indiana, Tavon Jackson, right? Here's the deal. He was backing up Curtis Rourke. I don't know a lot of people who know who Curtis Rourke is. I mean, you probably have heard of him, but he was, I believe, in the MAC originally, and then he crushed it. And Indiana was like, we need to get this guy in the portal, and they got him. And then he started, and he crushed it. He did get hurt, and Tavon Jackson, I think he played a little bit and had success. And we saw, he was sitting behind this quarterback who was killing it in Curtis Rourke. So we know, he can play, and we've seen it. And yeah, we saw a little glimpse of it, but I'm telling you, the kid's an athlete. He is going to be the starter day one. Book it. Book it right now. We got depth, which is great at quarterback, but he's the guy. He is QB1. People could say what they want, but we know he's going to be QB1. So with that being said, we got a dual threat guy. He can sling the ball. We've seen some of the tape. We've seen it from spring. And, with him back there and his solid O-line, which we've acquired a lot of pieces through the portal this year, we're looking good, and they're nimble. They fit our system. People overlook some of these guys. And so we need nimble, quick O-linemen, because we're going to be moving off the ball quick. Running backs are quick, and we picked up receivers that are kind of under the radar guys. At a Limestone, who's ever heard of Limestone before until we got this guy, and then we found out about the program kind of going defunct, which is crazy. But UCF is finding diamonds in the rough right now. So we love that. And then, we got some true freshmen I think are going to step up. And I love that they're getting more playing time, unlike Gus Malzahn, who just wouldn't play any of these freshmen. I don't know what he's doing. But that's a whole nother pod. So now that we got the receivers, we had Day get injured, which is unfortunate. We were looking forward to him, no doubt. But other guys are going to step up. Wade and Charles, I believe. And I know we got a couple other young guys that are going to step up at receiver. So, and then at tight end, people are forgetting. I believe his name's it's Dylan Wade, I believe, from Maryland. He is the steal of the transfer portal class. Besides one other player on defense I'm going to talk about, but I am so high on this tight end. He is going to be an absolute game changer. Loved Randy Pittman, but going to FSU, that's a mistake. Good luck with that. Now, let's talk about my guy Wade, though, at tight end. I'm telling you, he's going to be kind of like Jordan Akins was. He's going to be utilized like that. But man, absolute steal. Love the transfer at tight end. So now let's go to the other side of the ball. And we're going to talk defense, which strangely is looking like the strongest unit for the UCF football team this coming up year. Now, you're looking at this defense, right? And you're thinking, we got this D coordinator who's basically disgraced on Twitter. Everyone's knocking the hire. It's not a good look. And I get that. I totally get that. But what we also have to look at is that the way UCF fast plays, we're going to be moving up and down the field. We could be scoring very, very quickly. So we need a D coordinator who gets that, who can maybe say, okay, my scheme, the defense I run, bends but doesn't break. We need nimble, fast, athletic linebackers D-line, corners, safeties. Let's think about this. Who did UCF lose to Texas Tech on the D-line? Lee Hunter, right? We lost Lee Hunter. I'm not that mad. Hey, big fella, go get that bag. I'm not mad at him. I'm not. I'm not mad at you. I actually like it because guess who's filling up that void now? John Walker. Yep, he's back off injury. People forgot about him. I don't even know what the transfer market was for him because people forgot like he was hurt for a whole year basically. So they don't remember, but the beast is going to wake up and he's going to have a heck of a year, right? But okay, so we got John Walker, but there's somebody on the D line, Najee Kelly, happy he's back, but we got a guy from Pitt, Sincere Edwards, okay? We missed out on him as a freshman to Pitt. I think he flipped to Pitt last minute, right? And that one hurt. Besides Javon Boggs, that was another one that UCF lost, and now I think he's going to FSU. Gus Malzahn took him. Boggs committed UCF too, but that's a completely different story. But anyway, Sincere Edwards, he will be the defensive player of the year for UCF's defense next year, this upcoming year. He's an absolute playmaker. He is unstoppable. You can't block him. You can just try to hope to contain him. So it's going to free up a lot of opportunity for Kelly on the other side and John Walker. Good luck trying to run the ball on those three. And here's the thing. Like I said, Lee Hunter may not have been able to even make it on the field because we would be moving so fast on and off the sideline. If UCF's offense is humming, the defense is going to be on the field a lot more snaps. And I don't think Lee Hunter would be able to make it from the sideline to the play and then get back up and do it again and again and again and then come back and do it again. So it wasn't maybe a good fit anyway. So, all good. Not mad about it. Sincere Edwards is going to be an absolute gem. My favorite pickup of the offseason in the portal by far. And then let's look at, linebackers. We got a lot of depth. We always have issues getting linebackers basically consistently. I don't know. Last year's linebackers were a letdown. I think that people don't give enough credit to Deshaun Pace. He was my favorite player on the defense last year, and salute to him. Shout out to him. He played with heart. He was a baller. Like, if it wasn't for him, we might have lost like one or two other games. But great player last year. So right now, this year, we got a linebacker from Colgate that I saw his tape, and he is absolutely he has that it when it comes to finding the ball. And he is just an absolute, like, Zach Thomas, like, little bulldog that won't stop. And that's what we need. We need that. Like, we need that kind of player on our defense. So got a guy from Virginia Tech. Hopefully, he can contribute. And we'll see, how we're using some of these guys. Maybe we'll bring a guy in from safety and slide him up. But at the end of the day, linebacker, there's a question mark there, as always. So we'll see. But the D-line is absolute solid as can be. And then corners are looking good. I know we lost Chasen to, God, I don't even know. He committed and decommitted and decommitted to like 3 or 4 programs. But look, I'll say this about the NIL and the current state of college athletics. I'm not mad at all about a kid who's 18 to 21 or whatever, 22, who decides to, make a move based on the money that a school's offering him to come play football for that program. I'm not mad about it at all. And it is what it is. One thing I would say is, people always say once a night, always a night, forever a night. But no, that's not the case. If you leave UCF, you're pretty much dead to me. Like as a UCF alum and fan, like I'm telling you, if you leave UCF and you go to another program, you are not a forever Knight. Unless you graduated or went to the league or you stopped playing because of injury, you are not a forever Knight. You do not get to claim you're a forever Knight. So I don't like that. I don't like when they say forever Knight, once a night, forever Knight. Also, like if you're transferring, we don't need to read 4 paragraphs about how you love UCF and then at the end say you're leaving. So that's just my take on that. But it is what it is. And then so corner, we're pretty solid on corner. I like what I saw in spring. Like I like what I'm hearing. And then I like the additions we've made. We're like the pipeline to like our little bro FAU. We're just grabbing up all their best secondary players, and I love it. Thanks FAU. Those foul owls. Appreciate it. So yeah, we're looking good. We got playmakers all over. We got the Henderson twins back there too. We have depth and younger depth, and I like that they stuck around. So our defense is looking solid. No doubt about that. So, looking back now, let's look at like how we got here. Let's take a quick look at like what happened with Gus Malzahn and what happened. Like, how did it go wrong? The guy was one of the most successful coaches at beating Nick Saban when he was at Alabama and Gus was at Auburn. It was interesting, like when Scott left and played Auburn in the Peach Bowl, 2017 national champs, undefeated, right? I think that, I'm just going to make this clear right now, that 2017 UCF team, first of all, was loaded with NFL talent that are still in the league today. Second of all, we would have given Alabama an absolute run if we were in the national championship that year. So, Auburn beat Bama, we beat Auburn. Why not? Claim it. It was an invitational anyway. So I love that. But going back to my point, Scott Frost coached against Gus Malzahn. And was Auburn prepared? I don't know. Mackenzie Milton had his way. Auburn had some serious NFL players in the skill position that game. And UCF just outcoached them. And I love it. And that was Scott Frost that outcoached Malzahn. And we go ahead and Scott rides off to the sunset to Nebraska, and we get the loser, Gus Malzahn, the loser of that game. But anyway, Gus Malzahn, fantastic guy. I played high school football in the state of Florida for Palm Beach Gardens High School. I played with a couple guys. One of them played in the NFL, Super Bowl champ, Emmanuel Cook. He went on to play. He played at USC, South Carolina. And we were undefeated my freshman year. We didn't lose a game. My JV year, we didn't lose a game. And then we were in the 6A class of State Florida, South Florida, Palm Beach Gardens. And I played at a pretty high level in high school. So I get like Florida football and like the talent, right? So like when I'm looking at head coaches and I'm like evaluating what I think about them, I'm thinking of would I like to play? Would that coach get me inspired to play for them? And when I think of Gus Malzahn, and I got to meet him after like, I don't know, like a spring game or something. I forget when it was, but I was down on the field and I got to meet him. And he is a cool guy. Like I could see how people would want to play for him. I would want to play for him. He's a cool guy. Now, I think his time in the league, like coaching, might be coming to an end, not because of success, but like I think he is a little bit like old school coaching. He's like out of that like George O'Leary like cut of cloth of a coach, but way cooler than George O'Leary. I got a story about George O'Leary I'll bring up on another pod. But yeah, I think that Gus Malzahn's a great guy. He just his scheme and fit didn't really work with the speed and what we got going on in Florida and the uniqueness of Orlando. It just wasn't really a great fit. And I'm just as surprised at his lack of success than anyone else. I'm still a huge Gus Malzahn fan. I think he's a fantastic person. So, nothing wrong with Gus Malzahn. Now, what did we get wrong? And KJ Jefferson, I still want answers. Who evaluated KJ and said, we need to go get that guy? That's the guy we want. Not Grayson McCall. I know we tried, but we couldn't get him. But KJ, right? Everybody in Arkansas, I don't know, like he's overweight. He had that like DUI, I think, where he had that ticket and he was looking really heavy. And they weighed him at the police station, and there was like reports that it wasn't accurate, but whatever. Buddy was super overweight, and I went to the spring game and watched him play, and I saw him, and I'm like, I don't know, he looks slow. And then he was letting these balls go, and they're getting picked off, and I'm like, uh-oh, we might be in trouble. I don't know if he's got it. And okay, I'm like, all right, I don't know what happened, but we need answers. Who was the one who watched his tape and said, he's got it, he can still throw the ball? Like, he did lead Arkansas, I think, in all-time passing yards for Arkansas's program, which is kind of shocking. But where was that at? Like, was it our coaching? Was it Gus Malzahn's play calling? Were we not getting KJ involved to find success? I'm not sure. I still don't know. Maybe KJ was just an absolute bum. He was like Brandon Wimbush, but worse. I'm not sure. But one thing I will say kind of reminds me, the year before JRP, people in the fan base seem to not be a big fan of JRP. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Like, JRP was one of the top quarterbacks athletically that UCF has ever had. And if he was healthy, he could have been better. Like, put him up on the bottom of the little Mount Rushmore of UCF football quarterbacks of all time. The guy was an absolute athlete. He had the heart. He just got injured because of maybe the way he played, and that's part of the game. But I also think he was too focused on baseball. I wasn't a big fan of that. Running over from spring to play spring football, like, that's cool and all, but if he was more dedicated to his craft and developed his quarterback skills instead of going to receiver, I think when he was at Ole Miss or something, he could have been much better. But I'm a huge JRP fan, so but back to KJ, just not sure what happened to him. We'll chalk that one up as we need answers. I don't know. We're gonna hear in the memoir from Malzahn in a few years when he writes a book about KJ. Now, let's talk about Penny Boone. What in the world happened with Penny Boone? I'm just as shocked about Penny Boone as I am KJ. We bring in, was he the MAC? He was the MAC leading rusher. And all of a sudden he comes to UCF and he can't run the ball. He forgot how to play running back. I'm shocked. We let him get a couple snaps early in the year, and then that was it. He was just chilling, not getting the ball at all. I don't know. Maybe there was something going on in the locker room. Maybe he wasn't learning the playbook, but I'll tell you what, as the season started to go downhill and we weren't finding success, why are we not giving Penny Boone the rock? Like, Johnny Richardson fumbling all over the place. I don't know. I mean, I don't blame Johnny Richardson. He stuck it out at UCF. I think that, again, Gus Malzahn's offensive play calling was his Achilles heel. He was just absolutely terrible game manager. Cost us many games. Great guy. Could have been a good coach 5 years ago. But in today's game, you can't run a QB draw on 3rd and 12 when we're down 21 points in the swamp. It's like, hello. And then we're down going in that swamp game. We're down, and I'm over here with these UF fans haggling back and forth, and I got nothing to root about. I'm like, why are we running clock? We're down. And they're laughing. So it's like, I don't know. There's some times where, last year was one of the roughest years to be a UCF fan of all time. horrible year. But anyway, yeah. So where were we? Yeah. So Gus Malzahn, Penny Boone. Don't know what happened with Penny Boone. What a waste of a running back with his last year. Like what are we doing? What happened? We need answers. Let's add Penny Boone in KJ to the we need answers. And overall, I would say that Gus also did have a little bit less limited resources when it comes to funding with when he was here at UCF. So that's true, and he did recruit well, but he was getting 4-star kids who didn't come to UCF for the culture. They came for the flashy cars and the swag and the drip. And they didn't come here for all the right reasons. They came here about themselves. And Frost has completely flipped the culture where it's not about that. It's like, you want to chase the bag? Go. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But if you want to be a part of a brotherhood and, you want to go to war with your brother, like, you will go to UCF and you will have an experience that you'll never forget. And that's why I think the best teams, the UCF 2017 team, that was an unbreakable bond. That team shared. Like, those guys were so tight. And last year's team was like the farthest from that. So you just know that. And so it's night and day. So I think Scott Frost's time at UCF so far has been awesome. I love what he's doing on the recruiting trail. We just got a 4-star D end, I think. I like that. I think we're going to start to get those. It's just going to take a little time, but I'll take the 3 stars all day from the state of Florida with Scott Frost's system and Mackenzie Milton, the GOAT, helping those quarterbacks figure this out. We're going to see success. I also think people are sleeping on this UCF roster, and they got us slated to be like the worst team in the Big 12. I have news for you. I, again, would rather take 3 stars from the state of Florida over pretty much all the Big 12 schools. I'm trying to think what we got a few schools in Texas, but again, Frost is a perfect fit for our state and this background of recruiting that we have. So I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. And BYU's quarterback, like, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't think he's going to play a snap for BYU ever again. Look at Arizona State. That's all I got to say. Look at how successful they were last year. They were slated to be dead last in the Big 12, and they won the whole thing, and they put up a good fight in the playoff. So you're telling me that UCF is lucky, like the ceiling is bowl eligibility with 6 wins? We'll do another podcast where we're going to go over the schedule, but no. This UCF team with this roster, with that D-line, I don't know. I think we got a really good chance at being, forget bowl eligibility. I can see us making a good run this year. I'm not saying we're going to win the Big 12, but I mean, nobody knows anything about the Big 12 right now. It's like the parity between these squads and the Big 12 is like anybody's guess. You could put the Big 12 teams on a dartboard and have Stevie Wonder throw a dart, and you're just as better off with whoever he hits on the dartboard. The Big 12 team, they might win the Big 12 championship. We don't really know. But what I would tell you is, do not doubt UCF. When they are doubted, that's when they thrive. They love the underdog. They love having a chip on their shoulder. It's a completely different culture. The one last thing I'll say is that the uniforms came out, right? They dropped the uniforms on Twitter, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it like a 3 out of 10. They look exactly the same as the year before. The fonts changed a little bit. They did a little thing with the Pegasus wings being a little clipped, but no. Bring some gold, pewter, whatever. Like, change it up a little bit, but all good. Again, it's not about the swag. It's about that grit. Maybe a little George O'Leary grit with that Scott Frost speed, and our UCF team will find success in the Big 12, because the Big 12 is is a lot deeper than people think, and they don't really respect the Big 12 football wise lately, it seems. We all know the ACC is basically like being in the American, besides, two teams. So I don't even think the ACC is really a power. They're really not a Power Four conference. So yeah, we'll leave that for another day. But thank you for checking out Uncut UCF. You can add me on Twitter. My Twitter tag's on the bottom of the video. But look forward to dropping more of these pods. And yeah, we'll catch up. All right, Night Nation. Talk to you later.